If we get this DNA, millions of lives are saved.
Maybe we should make this quick, huh?
Come on!
I bring scientists, you bring a rock star.
Hey guys, I just finished watching Jurassic World Rebirth, and oh boy do I have thoughts. I'm going to review this movie. No spoilers yet. We're going to get into spoilers in just a minute, and I'll give you a warning. But I want to give you my two thoughts on everything that I thought and everything, just kind of a roundabout viewpoint, my straight out of the theater reaction, and we're going to go through it. So what did I think overall without any spoilers? It sucked. It was really bad. And although this is probably one of the worst Jurassic World movies that I've seen, and it'll make $1 billion. I don't know why. Basically, everyone loves dinosaurs, and everyone's going to go out to see this. And if you're one of those types of people who say, hey, you know, just because it made money, then that must mean it's a good movie, and you think because The Last Jedi made like $1 billion, and the Marvels and Captain Marvel made $1 billion, $1 billion, or however much, then you're thinking, oh yeah, those are great movies because of that. This review's probably not going to be for you, to be honest with you, because I don't really gauge things that way just based off of how much money it makes. I think people love dinosaurs. People love to go out to the movie theater. Sometimes they just like to turn their brain off. Doesn't mean it's a good movie. And I thought this movie sucked Tyrannosaur-sized balls. So, without spoilers, what are some of the things that are good about it? What are some of the things that are bad about it? There's one scene in it that made me laugh, and I know it didn't intend to make me laugh, but it was so stupid that I thought it was hilarious. There were a few scenes like that. That's really all that's good about it. Basically, this is just a copy and paste of every single other dinosaur movie that's come before it, except the budget. I don't know, maybe you could argue that some of the effects aren't that bad, but it looks like the budget's down a little bit. I don't know, but the acting certainly is crap. Of course, the worst part about the whole movie is just the storyline and the plot. I mean, it really is just a copy and paste. There's a few things here and there that are weird. It's like they were trying to push this like this socialist kind of message here on out. I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into that, but there's this one scientist dude who like wants to have sex with a dinosaur or something. He loves him so much, and he's pushing this whole message of, man, everything's gone extinct and we don't rule the world and dinosaurs are amazing, and he just loved dinosaurs. It's like, all right. And so I don't know, just really trying to push this. And the acting's all over the place. It's choppy. None of the characters had any chemistry with one another. Scarlett Johansson, honestly, she was better as a femme fatale whenever we first got her in those early Avengers Marvel movies. It's really gone downhill for her. I think the worst part, her lowest part, was whenever she did the Black Widow movie or whatever. Man, that sucked. In this one, she's bland. She's kind of the leader of the team, I guess you could say. But there's nothing that really draws me in. They try to do these character developments of certain people, and then other people they just completely leave out by the wayside. But none of them are very interesting, and some of them are just extraordinarily unlikable. I couldn't help but notice that. The characters who are supposed to be interesting just seem very surface level, like Scarlett Johansson. Very surface level and just completely unappealing. And then other characters who survive are just the most unlikable, and it was like they tried to give them a character arc through the movie, and it fell flat on its face. Basically, starting off, what we know from the other movies. At some point, dinosaurs take over the world, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember. It happened in one of the other movies, so that's not a spoiler. I've seen them all, too, by the way. It's just like my brain is melted on them. But I have, yeah, hand on heart, I've seen all the dinosaur movies. And at some point, they got loose and took over the world. Yeah, they don't do anything with that in this movie at all. Like, nothing. So it's very bland. A lot of cheap shots. There's some cheesy scenes too. Characters don't feel like they have much motivation, and even the main plot that goes about of why we're doing all this in the first place, it just kind of ends up into being a nothing burger. It's like, why do we even do any of that? I thought there would have been more deaths, but there are hardly any, and the ones that did die were absolutely side characters, and it was completely unsatisfying. I don't think any of the main characters at all died, except for, like, no, there was one guy. Maybe you could count two, but none of them were satisfying. And I guess this is a minor spoiler, but there's no velociraptors. There's one scene with a velociraptor, and it's dead immediately. And it's like, man, what is this? They're like the coolest part of every dinosaur film. They don't go that route at all. So, I give this a 10 out of 10 for being crap. I think it's one of the worst dinosaur movies. In fact, I think it's so bad that I think even general audiences, after word of mouth and they see this, I don't think they're going to respond. Most dinosaur movies really do well. They do quite well. But when you have Superman about to come out, and you have... there's something else coming out, and there's a bunch of new animes coming out this month too. I just really don't feel like this is going to get that return. It'll make money, I think, but I don't think it's going to hit $1 billion. This was just trash. So those are my overall thoughts. Now, let's get into spoilers, and let's go a little bit by bit. Did you guys know that for most of the people watching YouTube videos, only a small percentage of those people are actually subscribed to those channels? But subscribing is really quick and easy. All you have to do is first to make a YouTube account, which is free, and then after that, go down to the video that you're watching, hit the like button, which goes a long way in helping out the algorithm, and then go over and hit the subscribe button. After you've hit the subscribe button, click the drop down arrow, and click the option that says all, so that can notify you whenever a new video from this creator has dropped. Subscribing is free, and making a YouTube account is also free. It allows you to keep up with all of your favorite content creators, and of course it goes a long way in helping out my channel, and I really do appreciate it. So with all of that being said, back to the video. Okay, so I have some notes, not mental notes, but notes that I've jotted down that I'm looking at. And so, basically, we start off the movie where there's this facility, and we're just going to go through it, and I'm going to try to run through it real fast, because damn, this movie was really boring. There's this T-Rex. It's not a T-Rex. It's like if a T-Rex and then that villain from the first Green Lantern movie had a kid with each other, and then out plops this weird mutated monster, because on another one of these damn dinosaur islands, they started experimenting because dinosaurs aren't cool enough. They create this freak of nature. It's a transgender dinosaur. And transgender dinosaur, the movie starts off in the dumbest way you can imagine. It has to be the dumbest opening scene I've ever seen. So there's this facility, and everyone's wearing these hazmat suits. It's all clean and squeaky and everything. This freak, trans dinosaur, is locked up securely. So this guy who's wearing a suit has his mask open. He's about to go in the ultra super duper, area where they suck out all the oxygen or something, I guess, where everything's really clean. So he has this candy bar in his mouth. It's like a Snickers. And the wrapper falls off the candy bar as he's stuffing his face, and it falls to the ground. He closes his mask, opens the door. The wrapper of the candy bar, kind of the air pushes it in this airlock tight room. And so as they go into this next room, the door opens, and these scientists or whatever go into the room. As the door's about to close, and I'm hand on heart. So stupid. The door's about to close. At the bottom of the door, there's a little vent on the door. And the raptor gets inside the vent. And the door stops. It like blows up. I'm not kidding. It blows up at the bottom of the door. And then the entire facility shuts down. The door doesn't close. There's this reading on the computer that says, ding, ding, ding. It's not contained. And then all the electricity goes off. Everything locks down. The doors start shutting in themselves. The dinosaur breaks free. It kills someone. Everyone dies. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? It has to be the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. A candy bar wrapper makes this door malfunction. And then that destroys the whole facility. And I knew where we were going from there. I'm telling you, it is that stupid. So we fast forward into the future. And I thought was the main character, but it's Scarlett Johansson. But this guy, who is basically a billionaire from what we come to find out, I guess, is on his way to meet Scarlett Johansson. There's dinosaurs blocking the road because guess what? They've taken over the world. I don't know where they're at, New York City or something. And, you know, it's a major city. They're blocking the road. They got this one of the long neck things, and he's like getting choked to death by like a crane or something like that. And they're painting over dinosaur paintings because dinosaurs are everywhere now, apparently. So they're everywhere. And people are trying to get on with their daily lives, but they're trying to round up the dinosaurs. So traffic's being blocked. Scarlett Johansson sneaks into this guy's back seat and it's like, hey, what's up? You looking for me? And he's like, yeah, I guess. So he pitches her an idea. He says, hey, you know, people die of heart disease. Dinosaurs can fix it. And so he says, help me hunt down these dinosaurs. And we can cure heart disease. And she's like, how much? He's $1 billion. 10 with 6 zeros after that. So 1,000 million billion. $10 billion. Okay. And she's like, sounds good. But it's not legal. You know, we're going to go to an illegal place. And she's like, sounds good. And so then he goes to get the scientist that needs to get this blood injection from these specific dinosaurs. Because it's like dinosaurs are everywhere. Why don't you just walk down the street? You'll see one playing basketball now. And this scientist who just loves dinosaurs is like, no, there's 3 magical... There's 3 magical dinosaurs. These are special. They're like old and special. And we have to find these 3 because their hearts are massive. And they'll be the ones that cure heart disease. And then they're like, sounds good. So, moving on. So the billionaire doesn't have any resources. He has nothing. He shows up with like a suitcase and a tie. He has nothing. No team. So he depends completely on Scarlett Johansson. And he's got the scientist. And Scarlett Johansson assembles a team. And it's this black Jamaican guy. And he's like the guy who gets people in and out of places they shouldn't be. And they kind of, you know, barter for more money from the billionaire. And they're all on board. And then they sign up another friend who's like this Australian white dude who... he's the muscle, and he brings guns and stuff. And so they all come to an agreement. They all get on this boat. They start heading to the dinosaur island. And this is the team. Scarlett Johansson, who's the leader. The rich billionaire, who does nothing. The black guy, who's in charge of the boat, who gets people in and out of places. The Australian guy with the guns. The scientist who loved dinosaurs. And then you have 2 other people. And these 2 people are on the boat. And they're a part of the team. And they're shown. They're never introduced. One is a black guy who speaks Spanish, and the other one is a butch lesbian. And you can guess who's gonna die. But they're introduced, but they're not introduced. That we don't know their name. That when people are around talking and chatting, they don't get involved in the conversation. When any of the other main characters chat with them, it's very brief. It's like just 1 or 2 sentences, and they don't respond. They say nothing. So it's like, okay, all right. So they're going along, and they're in the boat, and they're on their way to another damn dinosaur island. And I'm thinking to myself, hold on a second. You mean to tell me that dinosaurs have taken over the world? They're everywhere. You got a T-Rex down the street, like playing basketball. You got like these big long neck stuff, you know, breaking up traffic. We're going to take that very interesting idea of all these dinosaurs and crap in the city, in the world, messing with people's lives and their jobs. And we're just going to go away from all of that back to another dinosaur island with a small team of people that struggle to survive. It is the most boring, basic, copy and paste plot that all the other movies do. All of them do it. And it's just like, well, I don't know. Maybe we could have stayed in the city. Maybe we could have stayed in the city. Maybe we could have followed like a cop around, or a SWAT guy, or something like that, a retired police officer, and he's trying to save his children from velociraptors, and the police force team up with them, and then a T-Rex shows up, and I don't know, like maybe he gets a T-Rex gang or something. We could do Jurassic Park in the hood or something. We've done Leprechaun in the hood. Why don't we do T-Rex in the hood? And now there's something cool, something different. No. Let's just go away from all of that, and we're just going to go to another damn unforsaken, godforsaken dinosaur place where the dinosaurs are painted a little bit different colors, and ooh, they're all magical. And then this group of people have to survive. So that's what we're doing. So they're on this boat. And then all of a sudden we cut away to the other cast. Which is this family who serve no purpose of any kind. None. I'm telling you, they are a family who get caught up in all this. They have no purpose. The only thing you could say is it fills up screen time because throughout the movie it switches back and forth between this Mexican family and then the main cast that I talked about. So there's this other boat out there on the sea with this Mexican family. And I say Mexican, I don't know, they look California Mexican. Like California Mexican are basically white people, but they have a slight tan of their skin, and they kind of dye their, you know, they're kind of shape their hair to make it look more Hispanic, and they act like they're all cultured and they eat Mexican food. That they look like that kind of Mexican. It's like, what are you doing? But I think they're Mexican. So they're on this boat. They are the most unlikable people imaginable. You have this father who's on the wheel, his daughter, little daughter's out there, and then he has an older daughter who's like a teenager, and she's getting banged by her boyfriend under the deck. She's just getting pounded by him. Now, they don't show this in the movie, but it's strongly, heavily implied. She comes out half naked, young, about to go to college, and the father's like, "Where's your boyfriend?" And she's like, he's like getting dressed, you know, he just finished pounding me. And the father's like, "Wow, thanks." And then the most unlikable character, this guy, comes out of the deck below, half naked, and the father's like, "Hey, it's your turn to take the wheel." And he says, "Nah, I don't want to do that. Let's do something else." And the father's like, "We can't do that. He's like, let's drop the anchor or something." And the father's like, "No, we can't drop the anchor. We're out in the middle of the ocean." By the way, for some reason, this father, who isn't very likable either, takes his whole family out on the sea, and they're in the middle of the ocean, like a couple of miles away from this dinosaur-infested island. It's baffling. So this young guy's like, "I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that." And the father's like, "Fine, I'll just continue to ride the wheel and steer. The young guy goes back underneath the deck, and the daughter, the older one, insufferable, looks at her father, and her father's like, I'm not going to say anything. And then the attitude of this daughter's like, oh, good. Don't say anything then. And then the father's like, I mean, did he at least bring a shirt or something to wear? And the daughter's like, I see in him what you don't. I mean, just the most unlikable you can imagine. So anyways, this giant dinosaur fish shows up, and he starts to try to kill them all. So I'm thinking, yes, they're all going to die. I wanted them all to die. Even the little one. None of them die. Somehow their boat gets flipped, and they send out a distress signal to the other crew. Now, mind you, this other crew of the people of Scarlett Johansson and all of them, they're breaking the law. They're like, you know, mixed with mercenaries and smugglers, and they're like not allowed to be here and going in illegal waters and stuff. So they're getting close to the island. Scarlett Johansson and then the black dude who owns the boat, who are breaking the law, decide to grow a conscience and say, hey, let's respond to this distress signal, even though the island's right there. And then the other characters are like, no. But they're like, no, we're going to do it anyway. So they save the Mexican family, so they're all together. Ugh. God, I'm already getting bored. Let's see, does anyone die at this point? Who dies? Oh, yes. Oh, for the love of God. The only character that I was remotely going to like. So Massive Fish comes back. And apparently he's one of the 3 magical mystical beings that they need to get the blood injection. And the blood injection is like they shoot a gun, it hits the dinosaur, sucks out the blood, shoots into the sky, and then falls down with like a little parachute and they grab it back. That's how they get the blood injections. So they shoot the thing, do it, yada yada, they get it. And they see this massive fish and they're like, yeah, this is all cool. So they get closer to the island. And do you remember, I don't know, what was it, Jurassic Park 3? The big ones with the fin? There's like 8 of them that show up in the water. And they've got different colors. And so the Australian guy with the gun is like, let's go. And he goes out there and starts shooting them. Boom, boom, boom. And he starts scaring some of them away. Well, one of them just jumps up and eats him and kills him. Just, ah. And I'm just like, oh, man. The one guy with the gun. The one guy who seemed reasonable. Because he's like, screw that. Let's just go to the island. He gets eaten immediately. And so then the big fish comes back. Chases the boat down. By the way, I forgot to mention, when they're all in there and they're talking about their plan, and they're talking about, like, oh, here's what we need to do to gather these blood samples. They're like, it amazes me how nonchalant everyone in this movie is about everything. They're just sitting around and they're just like, we won't have a problem. It's just dinosaurs. The Australian guy is like packing heat. And then the scientist guy gets all offended. And he's like, are you going to kill the precious dinosaurs? And the Australian guy, the guy I liked, I guess he's Australian. He sounded Australian. And he's like, yeah. It's a crime. And he says something like, what are you going to get on to me? Because it's a crime to kill dinosaurs? And the scientist guy, who is just so cringe through this movie. There's moments where he tries to act like a tough guy. It's so cringe. And he responds to the Australian guy, no, it's immoral to kill dinosaurs. I'm like, what? Anyways, Australian guy dies. They get knocked up on the beach. And then, no-name butch lesbian dies in the most hilarious way. One of the funniest parts in the movie. This smaller dinosaur kind of creeps up behind her and just eats her. And they play it off as like this real emotional moment. And I'm like, no one even knew her name. She was like in a few scenes. It's like, who is this person? So the Mexican family gets separated with the main cast. And so far, Australian guy and butch lesbian are the only ones who have died. The rest of the movie is such a slog. Let me go through my notes and see. Now, by the time we finally get on the island, we're well over an hour into this movie. We're halfway through the movie. By the time they finally make it on the island, That first 40 minutes or so, and then there's like 20 minutes with the Mexican family who get attacked by the fish, and they're all fine, and it goes on so long. There's so much dialogue dumping. It's insane. Well, they finally all make it to the island. And I don't know. The main crew with Scarlett Johansson are just like, well, let's just do our job. We're here now. And then the Mexican family, I don't know. I guess they just like, well, let's just head in one direction and try to survive, I guess. So they go through, and the young guy who's with them, who's banging the daughter, is just the most insufferable person in the world. I mean, everything out of his mouth is just like... Now, there was one good thing he did on the sea, because the daughter, the Mexican daughter, the older one, she was going to fall off, and the white rich guy who's paying everyone, he didn't want to help her because she was going to mayday in, and since they're not supposed to be out there, he stopped her from doing that. So when she was about to die, he just kind of let it happen. So she falls overboard. So she's upset, and she wants to get back at the rich, white guy who let her die. And her boyfriend did jump in after her, and he tried to save her and stuff. And for some reason, the Mexican, like the father and then the youngest daughter, he sees them in the water with all the damn dinosaurs, and he's like, let's jump in too. So he takes his youngest daughter and jumps in after them, and then they're all together. Somehow they survive, and that's how they get separated from the main group. So they're going on the island, they're just wondering, and then there's this long dialogue sequence where Scarlett Johansson and her team are just walking through the water, and then you have this line from the scientist, it's like, we are gonna be extinct, the dinosaurs own this planet, and it's just such a sludge to get through it. Nighttime falls. Somehow they survive the night, but during the nighttime, the Mexican family are all together and they're sleeping. When they're trying to make it to some sort of camp, by the way, just to make the young guy even more insufferable, he offers them drugs. He's like, let's smoke weed. You guys want to have some weed? And the father's like, what the hell? Anyways, I felt like they were finally going to kill him, but they didn't. He walks out into the woods to take a piss. The young Mexican guy who's banging the daughter. And then a couple of velociraptors show up behind him. And I'm like, thank God. Most unlikable character in the world. As he's standing there taking a piss, the velociraptors show up, and then this big bird of some kind swoops down and kills him. And they play it off as a laugh. Ha ha ha. Look, this guy is taking a pee and all this. These velociraptors are dying behind him. Ha ha ha. And then he goes back to peeing. The lightheartedness in this movie, it's again amazing how nonchalant everyone is. There's no tension at all going on. There's no stakes. Hardly anyone dies. There's cop-outs. It is just so unbearable. It's so boring because of that. There's no tension. And you take this scene, which could have been gruesome, and it's just played up for laughs. It's like, oh, haha, this is a Marvel movie now, I guess. So, they make it to the second dinosaur. They're out in this field of very tall grass, and they're looking for the second magical, mystical dinosaur. And Scarlett Johansson's team is out there. And so she tells everyone, hey, stop for a second, guys. And they all stop. They're looking around in this tall grass out in this pretty open field. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, something's going to happen. Maybe some velociraptors are going to show up. And, their tails are going to start poking out. Or maybe a big dinosaur is going to come out from the distance and they're going to have to hide in the grass or something. No, what happens is one of those long necks shows up. This massive long neck dinosaur who has this extremely long tail that looks like a snake, basically. And it's like he was hiding in the grass. He's like the size of a mountain. They're looking around, they don't see anything, and all of a sudden they turn to the right, and then it's just right there, and then another one pops up. It just like, lifts up from the grass, and I'm just like, what was it hiding in the grass? This thing is like the size of a mountain. It's massive. And then there's two of them, and then they turn their head a little bit to the right, and then there's like 50 of them as far as the eye can see. Oh, and they butcher the first scene in the first Jurassic Park movie. You remember when they first saw the long necks, and then the music kicks in, and it's like, you know what I'm talking about. And it was like magical. It's like, this is a dinosaur. Oh, they butcher it. They start playing that music. A researcher, the scientist guy who wants to hump a dinosaur, goes up to this dinosaur and humps it and wraps his arms around it. This massive thing touches it, and he's like, oh. And he's just like, dude, you know they're walking down the street back in your city, right? But oh no, this one's bigger and it's more mystical, because the whole reason he came along, his whole shtick was, hey, I know that there's dinosaurs everywhere, like quite literally everywhere, but you know what? You haven't seen them in their natural habitat, have you? And he's like, oh, and so he sees this massive dinosaur who's painted a little bit different colors than the long neck that we saw getting choked to death by a crane or whatever when the movie first started. And he wraps his body around it, and he's like, oh, and then they get the blood sample, and it's playing this music, and then there's like 1,000 of these damn giant long necks just walking around, and it's just like, oh my god, it's not earned, it's so cheesy, and I'm just watching it, I'm just like, you, talk about beating a dead horse. They have taken that first movie, which was like the only good one, and they are just, it's like they're getting like a sledgehammer just beating the hell out of it. No, make us more money. Oh, they just butcher it so bad. So that goes on. And then they get the second sample. And then we go back to the Mexican family. Oh. And what happens is they go up to this river. And they see, I guess like I guess it's a boat, a raft or something that's been washed up on the shore, and the dad is there with them. They're all together, you know, all four of them. And then there's this smaller little dinosaur that starts following the girl around. And the father's leg is hurt. And basically the older daughter's like, let me go over there and investigate. Maybe we can get some kind of boat going and we can sail across the water because your leg is hurting. She swims across the water, goes to this raft, or this some sort of little facility or something, and she's looking around. There's a giant dead dinosaur there with like its guts ripped out. She turns around and looks at her family who are at the other side of the shore, and they're like, you're good. No joke. And she walks up. Then, you remember from the first movie, the thing with the fins that shoots the black stuff? That thing shows up. And he hops on top of the dead dinosaur and he's like, rah! And she's like, But then he runs away in fear. She turns around and there's a massive T-Rex just lying there sleeping. He just rolls over and he's just asleep like a dog. And he's asleep. So she goes into this open area. I think it looks like a boat or some kind of raft or something with the back end that's been torn off or whatever. And she's looking around inside to see if there's anything she can use. And there's one of those makeshift rafts. It's like a raft, but it's an inflatable raft, and it's like in the shape of a big, large box, and you just kind of pull the thing, and it opens up, and it creates this big orange raft. And they want to use that to cross the river and get on the river. So she's out there on these planks, on this pier, that's 20 feet from this T-Rex that's sleeping. And she's pushing it and pulling it and trying to get it to the water. Her family's on the other side. And they're like, they can't scream. So they're just making all these hand movements like, stop, you idiot. And she gets to the end of the pier. She pulls the thing and inflates the raft. And the funniest part about this whole movie, 10 out of 10. It's why this movie's great, okay? It's the best part. So she inflates the raft, and as the raft inflates, it makes a loud noise. The T-Rex wakes up. The raft, as it's inflating, covers the scene. It covers where the T-Rex, where you can see him. And she hits the raft to push it down after it inflates, and the T-Rex is gone. He pulls a Batman T-Rex. he just vanishes. Raft gets inflated. T-Rex is gone. Just stealth T-Rex. And he looks right at her and then just disappears. And I'm just like, guys, this is a T-Rex. He's playing ninja now. And so it's stupid. I was watching it and I was just bawling. I was just like, what are you doing? So I just suspend my disbelief. Anyways, she gets the raft in the water. And then the T-Rex acts, even though he looked right at her, he's just like, whatever. And he walks over to the water with his back towards them, and he starts drinking out of it. They all get in the raft. T-Rex turns around and sees them, and then he's like, okay, I guess I'll do something now. So he starts coming after them while they're in the raft. And he starts chasing them while they're on the raft, and he gets in the water and tries to follow them. God, it was so dumb. I was praying that one of them would die. I wish someone would die. Okay. I just wanted someone to die. No, they all survive. No one dies for a while, by the way. Somehow they survive. And we're almost done with the movie. By the way, finally, the third and final mythical dinosaur that they need in order to save the world from heart disease. Somewhere along the lines in here, the scientist asked Scarlett Johansson, hey, and here's where the socialist crap comes in. Hey, instead of giving this one corporation and this rich guy these samples in order to get it to some people, why don't we just make it free to the public so that everyone can have it? Capitalist, socialist, whatever you want to call it. And she's like, huh. And so, and they end up doing that by the end, by the way. It's so stupid. Let's just make it free. Free healthcare for everyone. That's the message they're trying to push. Free. Everyone just gets it, right? No, it's capitalism is bad. Republicans. Rah, rah, rah. Anyways, so they find the final mythical beast, which is a flying one. And they get its egg, and they get its DNA, and then the black guy who speaks Spanish, who no one knows his name and doesn't say a single word, the bird thing finally eats him. Second character, who was not introduced, clear side character, and he's dead. The bird eats him. Somehow they escape, and they go on from there. And as they finally make it through, they go to this facility. They all find their way to the same facility. And the facility, it's like a gas station. It looks like a gas station. And they go to this gas station. I'm not kidding. It has like gas pumps and like it's the inside of a gas station. They have the frozen, like where all the drinks are at, behind all the stuff. Whenever you go into a gas station, you have the wall with the drinks. You open one of those doors, and they're all cold behind there and stuff. That's what this is. And there's music that starts playing. So they go to this gas station that's in the middle of this dinosaur jungle. It turns on magically somehow and starts playing some kind of music, which attracts everything. And it first attracts this big fat chicken who is supposed to be Chicken Dinosaur, who's supposed to be the replacement for the Velociraptor. And you get the scene in this gas station where he's like hunting the girl, and then this fat chicken flying dinosaur is looking for Scarlett Johansson. The white rich guy turns evil. He gets a gun from the jungle somewhere, from someone dead. And when they all meet up, and the Hispanic chick, the teenager, who got banged underneath the deck by her boyfriend while her dad was right up top, she sees him and she's like, hey, you left me to die. And he's like, points the gun at her and says like, shut up. And he takes the samples of the 3 magical mystical beasts. And then the fat chicken shows up and they try to survive him. Someone calls a helicopter at some point. I missed it. But someone calls a helicopter. And the helicopter's coming in. And then Freakazoid Transgendered Rex shows up. And Transgendered Rex eats the helicopter in midair. They're all trying to survive. It's prone to lights. And so the black guy, who really feels protective over the very young Mexican girl, gets a flare and says, "Hey, follow me." And so the freakazoid transgendered Rex chases after him. And sometime before that, the rich guy, who is like the mean evil version of capitalism or whatever, and he's the one paying all of them billions of dollars, he gets eaten. And he gets eaten by, what does he get eaten? It's so stupid too, by the way, because what he does is he gets in a car and he drives straight for a transgendered Rex. He's like just straight for it. It's like doesn't dodge it or anything. And transgendered Rex just kind of puts one of he, her, she, them paws on the car, knocks it up, and then she, they, them picks him up and eats him. And it's just like, why did you do that? It was stupid. Now, he's dead. So, black guy gets a flare, leads transgendered Rex away. They get in a boat, take off. You think the black guy's dead. There's a whole scene that's like, da-na-na-na, and the music and stuff. Nope, just he survives. Shoots a flare, they go back and rescue him. And then the movie ends just like, I think, the first movie, where there's some kind of retarded-looking flying fish or dinosaur, and then they're playing that Jurassic Park music as they're, going away in the boat. And the scientist asks Scarlett Johansson, one of them is like, "What are we going to do?" And the scientist is like, "You decide." And Scarlett Johansson says, "Let's go with your idea, and let's take this and give it to the world, and to cure heart disease or something." And then the movie ends. It is the dumbest movie in the whole world. The ones I wanted, the Mexican family was so unnecessary. And if you could have used them for drama of like showing how vicious the dinosaurs were, had them all eaten alive. Had them killed one by one. Raise the stakes of how dangerous this place is. They all survive. Even the young guy who bangs the guy's daughter underneath the deck, who is disrespectful, who is joking about getting high, who is there for comedy scenes. They try to do this character arc about how, and relationships with the father. It doesn't work at all. He survives no problem. Daughters survive. Even the stupid little dinosaur that was in the backpack survives. Black guy survives. Scientist survives. Everyone lives. The only people who died were the extras. So the black dude who spoke Spanish and butch lesbian chick who were on the boat. And then the Australian guy who was the guns. Who was shooting the guns. And then the evil white business tycoon who was going to pay all of them billions of dollars. It's insane, man. I was just like, this is such a waste of money. There's no story here. Why don't we stay in the city? Tell us a cool story of dinosaurs in the hood. Show us something like that. Wouldn't that be cool? Or something. Have a SWAT team. The world's on fire. Dinosaurs are everyone. Have a SWAT team. Try to protect a small neighborhood from a gang of T-Rexes or something. I don't know. You could have done so much more with what you set up from the previous movies, and they didn't do any of it. They copy and pasted the music exactly from the first one. God, it was so bad. But then the humor. It's like, how are you going to turn these dinosaurs into a joke? The only time they showed the Velociraptor was for a comedy scene. And then the T-Rex, Batman T-Rex, Ninja T-Rex, man. Ninja T-Rex vanishing. And there wasn't a huge diversity of dinosaurs. Most of them were some we've already seen. And then the new ones were just ones that were just painted differently. They had stripes or something stupid on them. So the movie sucked. I just laid it all out for you, everything that happened. So you don't have to go see it yourself. Those are my thoughts. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, as well as the bell icon to be notified when my new videos drop. Really goes a long way in helping out the channel. It's free. Everything's free. Just got to make a YouTube account, which is also free. And I really do appreciate it, guys. And, yeah, until next time, thanks for watching.